Hi guys, I'm Mark.
I'm Penny.
And we are the Oyster Boys, and today we're going to be talking about whether or not we can make Peroni at home.
We have been asked a couple of times for this recipe, haven't we? The OBL.
We've previously done a video about whether or not we can make Stella at home using a recipe from a book which was published in, 1978?
Yeah, Dave Lane, is it?
Yeah, Dave Lane.
It's the book spinning forward now.
The book's on the screen, yeah. Dave Lane was like a real homebrew pioneer and basically published a book with about 50 odd recipes of clones of commercially available beers for people to be able to make at home, which kind of changed it from, go out into the world, buy this equipment and then make some kind of brown liquid that may or may not taste like beer, to you can try and make Stella or Guinness or Castlemaine 4X or Holston Pills or Harp.
It was all your mainstream beers at the time, yeah.
So we've been sort of going through and trying a few of these.
The first one we tried was this, wasn't it? And we've put our own twist on it in the fact that we've picked the yeast that we thought was best. Yep. We played around with the hop addition. So although we called it OBL, Oyster Boys Lager, maybe we can't take all the claim because this sort of grain bill is someone else's, but it's not like we're going to be commercially producing that. And we have tinkered with it to sort of put our own twist on it.
Yeah, I mean, the recipe is kind of vague when it just says things like use lager yeast. I mean, there's hundreds of commercially available lager yeast for us to choose from. On this one, we've chose W34/70 from Saf Lager, or Saf Ale. It's their lager brand is Saf Lager. That's the lager yeast that we've chose to go with for this. And hopefully it's gonna work out pretty well.
We definitely increased the Flame Out SARS hop addition on this one compared to the original OBL that we first did.
Yeah, this is our second try of doing this, isn't it?
Fermented at 13 degrees for I give this a long time, so it was more like 2.5 weeks. So it was about 18 days. I think I let this ferment out at, and then I obviously had gelatine and then cold crashed.
Just to talk about the beer that we're actually trying to clone here. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've completely skipped over that, haven't I?
So Peroni is known around the world for Nastro Azzuro, which is their sort of big brand premium lager that they make. Now, don't get me wrong, Nastro Azzuro is a lovely beer, but this red Peroni is the best-selling beer in Italy. Like, if you've ever been on holiday to Italy, you probably will, and drank beer, you probably will have drank this beer.
I've never had this.
Peroni was started in 1846 by Francesco Peroni in Vigevano in Italy, and after 8 years of having a brewery there, they then moved to a second site, which was run by his son Giovanni Peroni in Rome 8 years later. And it wasn't until 1963, I think, that they actually launched Nastro Azzuro, which translates roughly to blue ribbon.
Like the biscuit.
Yeah, just like the biscuit, which is named after the prize that a cruise ship got for crossing the Atlantic in a record time. They got the blue ribbon or the Nastro Azzuro for that. Peroni in the 1990s, the brand, both Nastro Azzuro and the original Peroni were bought by SAB Miller, S-A-B Miller, and they were distributed throughout the world. And there was a really renewed marketing thing, which actually took Peroni to, I think, the 12th or 13th best-selling beer in the world throughout the 1990s and 2000s. And then they were acquired, the Peroni brands were acquired by Asahi UK. Yeah, this is it. But Italy's best-selling beer is what we've tried to recreate.
I like Peroni, the brew label. I really do. And do you know what? I don't think I've met a person that says, that's a crap beer. Because it's certainly not. For a beer that meets everyone's standards and to still be a good to excellent beer, I think it's really good.
I think the difference is as well, this is...
Obviously this is the red, the original. I've never had this. I don't know whether it should be maltier or hoppier or what.
They describe this as both maltier and hoppier than the Nastro Azzuro.
Full on flavour.
Much more full of flavoured beer than the Nastro Azzuro, yeah.
So maybe they sort of not watered it down, but mellowed it out a bit for the blue to the mass market. But you're saying this is more what the Italians like.
They made it more accessible to the market. I've got, clearly in the bottle is our beer, and on the right I've got the can of Peroni. So let's get these in and see how they look. Peroni Red is not a readily available beer in this country. So I had to look online, really search for where I wanted to get to it, and it turned out that I was able to get it from an off-license in Liverpool, which was probably one of the grimmest places I've ever been in my life, because I walked in and instantly I was enclosed in a plastic box of Perspex. The staff are very friendly. I'll put a photo on the screen now of the outside of the shop, of the Continental Liquors it was called.
It's the only place in the UK that I've been to that you go in and it's completely enclosed in a glass Perspex a counter where you can't touch the alcohol, you're just in a little glass tunnel, and then they lift up the shutter like a bank almost and go, "What beer do you want, mate?" Are you there, lads? Yeah.
I've got to say, looking at these two beers, the way they look, they're very similar, aren't they?
Mine is more golden, and on our OBL, and holds the head a lot better. I mean, the head has gone straight away from the Peroni Red, but in terms of colour, definitely ours is slightly more darker.
Obviously, the commercial version is like crystal clear.
Yeah, so they're going to filter it. They're going to filter it.
Yeah, ours is very clear. You can see my fingers and stuff behind the glass there. This one is clearly been filtered within an inch of its life, but the colour is very similar. You know, it's slight differences, but I think for a beer that you've made at home to try and clone a commercial beer using a recipe that's 40 years old, I think we've done pretty well.
So I'll read it out and then we'll put it up on the screen. It was 3.25 kilograms of extra pale lager malt, 0.75 grams of the rice flaked, and 0.13 kilograms of the crystal malt. The hops on this recipe, well, actually, we'll do it for ours. It was SARS, 60 grams of 90-minute boil. We actually did a 60-minute boil, not the 90 minutes. And we added 40 grams of hops at the stand. And the yeast was what did the yeast do you say?
It was the SAF Lager W34/70.
Yes, and the original yeast we did use for this was the California lager yeast. The original.
Oh, from Mangrove Jackson.
Yes.
I mean, I'm picking these up and holding them side by side, and you know, there is so little difference in colour. The only difference is filtration.
I think it could be a little bit more. I'm disappointed maybe a little bit with clarity, but other than that, 7.6.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right there. I think maybe I think you're being a bit harsh. I think a 7.9, to be honest. I think it looks fantastic, and I'm just going to dive in for the smell. I'll be honest, both of them haven't really got much of an aroma.
Slight pepperiness with ours, yeah. A little bit of malt.
But it's very similar.
Oh God! So it is like smelling the same beer. It's like the same hop profile. A little bit of malt, pepperiness, slight pininess. Not giving loads off. That I would expect anyway for a lager. Do you know what I mean? It's not blowing me away, but then they're not supposed to blow me away. They're never gonna get mega points on this. 6.8 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it around 7. Yeah. But I would say it does smell exactly the same.
Yes, it's
as the commercial one.
It's uncanny, yes, 100%. In a blind test, I would be surprised if people could smell the difference.
Yeah.
But then they're not. It's not like it's punching loads of flavour and someone will go, well, that smells a bit more like more clover than this. And there's not much to go off, but what you do go off, it's very similar.
I've got to say, the head on mine is hanging around slightly more on our version than it is on the commercial beer.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go in for a taste.
Cheers.
Cheers. You know, that is a really good beer. And it is malty and it is hoppy. You know, it's not one or the other. It's the lion's made as well.
That's so good. I prefer that to the Stella that we made.
I would say that the commercial one is a lot maltier than ours.
100%. It's almost like a German Helles.
Yeah.
I would class that in the Helles category.
I think the hops is kind of spot on.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think if we kept everything the same and changed the yeast, we could probably get a lot closer to.
Because we love SARS hops, me and you, don't we? SARS is our one of our favourite hops, especially when it comes to lager. So we turn that notch a bit. Definitely, if I had to pick out the two to drink, I would pick ours.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But that's because. Yeah, because not only is it better, we prefer the SARS hoppiness, and that I was surprised with that it's more malty.
Look, the best-selling beer in Italy, they must be doing something right, mustn't they?
But wow, that's a big Jesus Christ! There's a whole pack there. But yeah, but in terms of what you said, the hop flavour, although ours is turned up, is the same. It's just if you're listening to a programme, it's the volume is just turned up a lot louder than ours, but it's the same noise that's coming from it.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, out of the two, I would definitely prefer to drink ours. The commercial one's still a great beer. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say we've done better than they've done, because they've sold millions and millions and millions of units of it. Yeah, so they could do better, but it's close for a 40-year-old recipe, isn't it? It is close.
Yes.
And like I say, I think. Oh, sorry. Score for taste on ours. Well, let me just hold on. I'm gonna have to go for an 8.3.
It's an 8.9 for me.
Ooh-wee.
It's a really tasty beer.
Yeah.
Everything, the mouth coating, the body's not too heavy. It's slightly lighter than a San Miguel, but it's got the body there. Flavour, it's really nicely balanced with those SARS hops. And it's all SARS. There's no hallertau or anything like that. I love it. I really love it. Today we tried a Helles Lager and I dig this more.
Yeah, this is a really, really good beer. I mean,
and it tastes fresh. And this is when did I make this?
Just end of December?
No, October. It was October because I drank it in December. So I made this early November, so 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, so this is about 3.5 months old and it tastes delicious.
Yeah, well I suppose, you know, in a way, you know, we're giving it some good lagering time, haven't we?
Yes, it's great. This for me, for flavour, is up there with the Colts we did from Malt Miller.
Wow.
For me, it's really, it's really good. Really good.
Do you know off the top of your head how much this cost?
Yes, this is £19 for 25 litres.
Wow. Okay.
It's not expensive because the hoppage is 100 grams of SARS hops, and you've got your rice, you know, for some of your grain bill, so it was really cheap. You know, the cost is the time it takes to make to lager. Do you know what I mean? The yeast itself is your dry packet. Your malt bill is not, you know, expensive. It's 4.8% beer. Do you know what I mean? And 100 grams of hops in total for 25 litres. So it's not.
43 pence per pint.
I mean, obviously we can comparing this to other homebrew beers and things like that, but that's phenomenal. For a beer like that you can get at home.
That's so cheap. And it tastes great.
It's less than 50p.
Oh, yeah, 43p is less than 50p, yeah.
And I know obviously we're comparing this to commercial beers and maybe we might say that, well it's a 9.2 for me.
Yeah, it's in God tier for pricing for me. It's a...
At some point, some beers are going to come up being God tier, and this has got to break it.
Yeah, it's I'm going to go the same, 9.2. And I think it may get in there as well for me for sessionability, because
this might be one of the most sessionable beers.
Yeah, you know what?
Ever.
I'm just going to come out and say it. I think a 9.5.
You read my mind, 9.5.
Yeah.
It's not too heavy, it's not too carbonated, if someone give me a 20 pack of, like the 330 bottles of beers, I could do that throughout the day, no doubt. I'd just be swigging away. I just swig away. And I think I mentioned it before when we were talking about a Hell's beer that we had, and you have that feeling when you're at a bar, when you're at a pub and then you move to a bar and you have some sweets. I'd never get that with this. No. And it's not overly carbonated. I know that's down to us, but this is great.
Yeah.
I wish I had this one draft again. Christmas Day I must have had about 12 pints of this, honestly. I know that should up a score, but I have other beers as well. I think that's a fair straight. I think Christmas Day is a fair evaluation of sessionability because everyone pushes the boundaries, but 9.5, easy. Yeah, really sessionable. Just, guys, make it. Next time you're doing your grain bill order for £19 or £20, so if you're at that point where it costs you an extra £6 for delivery, chuck in an extra £14 and buy this. I mean, can we put the recipe up, give it a direct link to Malt Miller so they just click it and they can buy it?
Yeah, I can put that up and people can click on it if they want and just go straight to it.
So what we'll do is we'll put the direct link up. This is completely just, they've already made it. We are making no money or anything like that. Don't think that we're sort of, trying to sell you anything. If your delivery bill is £6 and you're phone, if I spend an extra £10 or £14, it's free delivery. Click this link, it'll take the recipe and it'll order the gear for you. It's the same price that we paid for it, and you can come in, it'll probably be 3 months later, and let us know what you think, because I don't think you'll be disappointed.
We've crunched the numbers, and here is the Oyster Score for this beer. I hope you've really enjoyed watching this video. If you haven't, piss off, but if you have, click down below for all of the other things that we've done, all the other beers and our score spreadsheet, which lets you see how this beer compares to all of the others. Like and subscribe, smash like, hit subscribe, do all of those other things. And I think that's pretty much it. Oysters out.